This week I did concert photography for a major metalcore tour and a major death metal tour, and the differences I saw, pretty surprising. And those differences really got me thinking about the philosophy and the strategy on why bands project the public images that they do.
Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, John Barbas. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's Riff of the Week. All right, so Wednesday night, I covered the Decapitated, Septicflesh, Cataclysm, and Legion tour that took place in Atlanta at the Masquerade. And then Saturday, I covered the Erra, Make Them Suffer, Void of Vision, and Novelist tour, also in Atlanta at the Masquerade. And I've been going to metal shows for over a decade. I've seen all kinds of crazy things. Really didn't think I could be surprised anymore. But this week, I was surprised. And it's weird because it wasn't something freaky that I saw. Rather, it was the lack of freaky things that I saw. Let me explain. Subscribers will know that extreme metal is my forte. I've been to a million death metal shows, thrash metal shows, black metal shows, goth. I've seen all manner of crazy things. I'm used to seeing people in corpse paint and spikes and wearing full-length leather coats in the summer at an outdoor gig in Florida. I mean, I get wanting to look cool, but I would die. I've seen a dude walk a half-naked chick all around the venue on a leash. Seen it all, but I was completely unaware of the metalcore aesthetic and what a departure it is from the stereotypical metal image that I have in my mind. I have a section on my website, heavymetalphilosophy.com, that's dedicated just to pictures of standout metalheads I've taken at shows. I got a couple this week at the aforementioned Decapitated show. You know, nothing too crazy like what I saw at the Mayhem show, but, you know, standard stuff, dudes in battle vests, black t-shirts with illegible band logos. You know, the girls had on goth makeup and fishnets. And the bands themselves were pretty similar, you know, just cranked up to 11. The only band member at that show that was in regular street clothes was one of the guitar players for Legion. He was wearing a baseball cap too, but his guitar said, "Stay queer as f*** on it." So he really stood out, and then the rest of the band looked like they were in a death metal band. I guess the guys in Cataclysm were in plain black clothes, but they were big dudes with long hair and big beards, just looking larger than life. They looked and moved like rock stars. And then, do I even have to tell you about Septicflesh? I mean, they're one of my favorite bands, and that orchestral death metal that they play is super extra, and so is their stage attire. And then the stage itself for their set was decorated in all this H.R. Geiger-like art. Just, the whole thing was a visual treat. That was a theatrical performance. And then afterwards, Decapitated closed the show. And once again, a bunch of big dudes, long hair, big beard. You know, the lead singer doesn't have a big beard, but it seemed like his dreadlocks were endless. And then on the drum riser, I guess behind the drum riser is a big red skull. You wouldn't look at a picture of this performance and wonder what kind of music they play. Now let's compare that to what I saw at the metalcore show on Saturday. Remember that standout metalhead section of my website I was telling you about? I walked around the venue in between sets looking for some, and I found none. I mean, very few band t-shirts, zero battle vests, no leather outfits, no spikes, no big dyed hair, and much to my disappointment, zero goth chicks. I mean, don't get me wrong, the girls, and there were a lot more girls at the metalcore show, were dressed for a night out. But what I'm saying is I could show you a picture of that audience with zero context, and you wouldn't even know it was a metal show. It could be a crowd in any club in the country for a night out for all you know. And don't get me wrong, I'm not making a value judgment. I'm not making a criticism. This is just an observation. I mean, I don't put on corpse paint and leather either because I want to be comfortable. But it wasn't just the audience I'm talking about. The bands just looked like regular plainclothes people too. The thing that immediately came to my mind is when the entire internet got pissed off at Finn McKenty for saying that Gent killed metal and all the bands looked like a bunch of baristas.
There's no conspiracy. Gent killed metal, no songs, just riffs, and there are no larger-than-life stars like Fred Durst. Every band looks like a bunch of baristas who are scared to offend anyone. And let me tell you, people not happy with this one.
I mean, look at this picture I took of the first band, Novelists. All the dudes in the band are wearing plain black Hanes t-shirts. The guitar player is wearing a baseball cap, like he just rolled off the couch. And I mean, yeah, the lead singer, she is dressed like she wants to look like a star, but the rest of them, they're all in just regular street clothes. They just look like normal dudes. Well, except for this David Arquette meets Ryan Gosling looking joker right here. Now, the second band, they did kind of look like rock stars. Well, at least the lead singer did. But look at this picture. Look at this big, baggy leather jumpsuit he's wearing. If I showed you this picture with zero context, didn't let you know it was a metal show, you might would assume that this is a rap concert. And again, I want to be very clear. These are observations. I'm not making a value judgment, and I'm not criticizing the band for the clothes that they choose to wear. Stick with me for just a few minutes. I've got a philosophical point that I'm trying to get to here. The next band, Make Them Suffer, they were a little bit different, although the lead singer, again, wearing just a plain black t-shirt. But the female singer / keyboardist, she looked like a rock star a little bit. The bass player looked like he was in a band because he's wearing a black band t-shirt with the sleeves cut off, although he was wearing a baseball cap as well. I am making a value judgment about the baseball caps on stage. I hate that. But look at their guitar player. Now, this guy was entertaining. When he first rushed the stage, I thought he was naked because his athletic shorts were covered by his guitar. Yeah, all he's wearing is athletic shorts and safety glasses. I don't understand why safety glasses, but then again, I don't understand his baseball cap either. But yeah, he was awesome. And if I was as ripped as him, I'd be on stage with no shirt on too. Your boy lifts, but he also washes down tacos with Guinness. Anyway, the next band up, the closing band, was Erra, and I love Erra. They are the reason that I wanted to cover this show. Longtime subscribers will have heard me gush many times about that riff in Snowblood, so I was super excited for this, but I will say this, after the concert, I'm now a pretty big fan of Make Them Suffer as well. But yeah, Erra was in street clothes too. Erra has one of my favorite metalcore guitar players. Here he is in a baseball cap, and the lead singer's in a baseball cap too. He's also wearing a Dickies jumpsuit like he's a factory worker or something. Now, again, I want to reiterate, I'm not making a value judgment or criticism of their clothes. Well, except for the baseball cap, which he did eventually take off a few songs in. What I'm pointing out is the visuals, the look is simple. Even Erra's logo is not your stereotypical metal logo. It's just a simple geometric pattern. I mean, this could be a chemical company's logo. I could wear this shirt out in public and nobody would even know it's a metal shirt unless they know the band Erra. We did a podcast a while back about the band Currents. These new metalcore bands, they just have very subdued merch. You could wear their shirts to church and a youth pastor wouldn't even know it's metal. So that leads me finally to the point and a philosophical question for you. You see, black metal bands will often paint their face and change their names. They'll call themselves something like Euronymous or Necro Butcher. You know, they're hiding their identity. Death metal bands will sometimes wear masks and wear jumpsuits. And the stated reason is the focus should be on the music and not their identity. However, in my opinion, the theatrical imagery and the over-the-top aesthetic, it does kind of make it about the image, doesn't it? Are these metalcore bands in plain street clothes, are they the ones that are actually keeping the focus on the music and not their image? Well, Bring Me the Horizon notwithstanding. And I think I do prefer some theatrics and dark aesthetic, but seeing these two shows back to back did get me thinking about it. Tell me what you think. Is only the music important to you, or does image matter some? Does aesthetic add something to the music? For instance, if I walk into a club and I see the band is on stage wearing jeans and New Balance sneakers, I'm going to assume that this is a dad cover band. And speaking of image, this week's riff of the week is Drown This City in Your Image. That'll play as the credits roll, but before we get to the credits, did you catch my interview with Black Tusk? These dudes definitely don't care about image, and we talked about all kinds of punk rock and metal and sludgy goodness. If you're on YouTube and you want to catch that podcast, just click right here. If you're audio only, no worries, links in the description. But most importantly, read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.